Hey, we're live. So, good evening, everybody. Welcome to TFC Live, Season 3, Episode 45. And for right or wrong reasons, and nobody strike me down dead, okay? And on the third day, God created the world. Some days later, Kixeye then cancelled it, and after 12 hours, they brought it back again, much smaller, as we all know. So, anyway, welcome, panel. How are we? Robin, how are thee? You're down under, aren't you?
Doing well. Yes.
So,
Yes,
nice and
yeah.
warm down there?
No.
And you brought the right equipment and clothing? No.
Nope.
So it's summertime, yeah? No.
Supposed to be.
So you're having a great time.
Yeah.
But you're catching up with family, which is good, isn't it?
Yes. No. It's good to be here.
I thought you just had Barbies and drunk beer. No? Or is that a bit stereotypical?
No, yeah, a little bit, but there's plenty of beer, no barbecue. It's too bloody cold.
Oh, yeah. I know for the guys in the States, we either live in Scotland or we live in London, nothing in between. So, you know, it's just one of them things, isn't it? Yeah, anyway, sorry, tangents again. Ren, how are you, mate?
Hey, all good, thank you.
Good, mate, good. It's good to have you on. And actually, for a man that's on at the moment, we've got Daniel. Hello, mate. And are you feeling any better?
I'm feeling some better, but clearly I picked up a bug, and I don't necessarily want to blame Kixeye for the bug, but there could be something.
I like it. Yeah, so I spoke to Daniel this morning, and he went, I'm going back to bed. I don't feel well. So bless him. I giggled to myself as I went off to work. Yeah, so here we are. It's a crazy week in BP, and there's lots to talk about. We're going to cover some of the stuff we sort of need to cover, the routine stuff, but then we're going to sort of pause and ponder on some other stuff as well. Okay, so we'll see where we go, and yeah, let's just play it by ear, shall we? Right, let me set some slides. Screen 2's up. Yeah, place card holder just for my own common sense as well, so I know where I am when it comes to putting them on the TFC page, and also actually when I start sorting them out on YouTube. Righty ho. Content for tonight. That's at least what we've got, because I might have just added a couple of slides. But so yeah, we're going to review the obviously the raid that we've just happened, number 2 of the skirmish series. Look at obviously VXP Weekend. That's a splash screen. We all know it starts with VXP Weekend. We know all about it. World Consolidation. We'll pause on that one for a little bit there. We'll glance over the TLCs. Nothing new, but it is important on one of them because you can get some free skirmisher tokens, which is nice. And then actually I've added a little bit in the middle there. We're going to talk about Consolidation itself, and we're also going to talk about the PvP refactor. It's not PvP protractor or reactor or anything else. It's refactor, okay? Because it's bugging Ren, so that's what we're going to call it. I could have just put a title slide with lots of different names on it, but for some reason it's griping Ren greatly. And then obviously a few bug fixes at the bottom, if I can be bothered to show that slide, because there's only like 4 and they're all dull, to be honest. And I think there's more bugs in the update today. Good, right. Robin, you can start. With your many hours of taking part in the raid this weekend.
I cheated. I took like 2 hours.
Go.
Yeah, doing some traveling. Dragon's Lair obviously was Thursday through until Monday. It was the second raid of the skirmish cycle, and in this one we could go ahead and get the Proto-Apollo, which I'm sure everybody was really excited about.
Yes, very much so. Ren, do you want to take the top couple of bits in a minute, okay? Or do you want to just read this one down and then we'll look at the next one? Yeah, in fact, you take this one, Robin.
Me?
No, let Robin take this one because it's what should have happened. And then we had a bit more time to raid than Robin did, so we'll take the next slide. Go on, Robin.
Okay.
Yep. So they made some changes this time around, and I did like the fact that they were very clear about it up front. The one positive thing was that there was still no hit down penalty for the event, so really still happy to see that. The targets were kind of tuned more towards full fleets of legendaries this time around with the targets that they had this time around. If you remember last raid, you could do like 3 or 4 fleets in the elite targets. That didn't work this time. So the new targets that came out for this raid, you really needed those full fleets. Hunters and Tide Seekers still did well in the lower targets. I know Fangs still kind of fell on their face. And yeah, so that was pretty much it. So first raid, they kind of gave us a little bit of a gimme where we didn't need to have everything fully built. But second raid, straight into regular kicks, got to have full everything, all legendary.
Cool. Righty-ho. Right. So that's what we should have got and that sort of stuff. And let's have a little look at where we ended up after the weekend completed itself. Not horrendous. Ren, you want to take the top 3, mate, and then I'll go down after that?
Yeah, sure. The point per value on coin, I mean, talking about the 60s were still good to do. I mean, people with hunters could do the 60s. People with prototype seekers could do a whole bunch of 60s. Even special old tight seekers could, if built right, could take some 60s, although the repair would be high. You know, the elite targets, I saw a lot of people, and you can talk more about that, Mark. I saw a lot of people hitting down, just going to the 100 or the 102 because they could be done on auto with a complete fleet and like just pretty much non-stop. Was that your experience?
Yeah, I thought you had to be a bit smarter this time. So I was doing literally the 100 with
batteries
on my alt account, and literally then taking them apart, going into base, and then fixing them. And within an hour, actually, I managed to knock out 45 million points, which I thought was quite, because it was free, literally. I mean, well, free. I built the holes and that sort of stuff, but I did manage to build them slow time, no coins, that stuff, apart from the stuff you can get for nothing. So
yeah,
basically a free raid for me, but I had to take them apart. And then at the end of the evening, go out and smash a couple of the top ones and then let them fix overnight.
Exactly. And you're not the only one. I saw in my sector, my alliance, I saw quite a few players doing exactly that. People who have the time to play and don't have or don't want to spend the money. That was a very good approach. I mean, grind. Yeah. I mean, people with razor tails, for instance, were doing the 102s.
Yes.
And instant repairing on base and launching again and rinse and repeat for as many hours as you can play. And then when you're going to take a long break or you're going to go to bed or you got to work, as you said, then, yeah, you hit some of the top sets. I mean, but the top sets, the repair, I mean, some people are experiencing 8 hours per set from the top set. Some people are 4 hours. I think I was down to like about 3 hours per set with one fleet, which is 6 coins. But then what I did, because I had the Razor Tail fully built with flagship and everything, and then I did enough sets with that to get the bat ray tokens. And so I got my bat rays nearly completed with flag and all, just missing some armor. So then by day 2 of the raid, I was actually using the bat ray fleet for the 104, the razor tail for the 106, and I could do 6 of each and then dock for repairs and like just score like, 60 million points and then stop playing for whenever, 8 hours for them to repair or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, for me, now it's a sort of like the 6th raid, I think it is in a row, where I sort of like do a warm-up sort of stream for an hour and X, whatever it is. And there's a main reason I do that, because it gives you a benchmark, and straight out of the can this time, I thought it was my cruddy driving, but I noticed almost a 2-fold increase to the 2 new targets as opposed to the 100 and 102 from the previous one. Now, I did no refits to my ships whatsoever. Nothing at all. So yes, I might have had.
But you did the flagship.
I had the flagship last time.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't have 5. I had a flagship last time and the 4 ships. Okay, and I did do last weekend's, the weekend before's event. The ghost ship event. I did do that, but on purpose. I didn't put the cormorant on, etc., and that sort of stuff, because I thought, right, okay, that was supposed to be a gift event for the weekend. And yeah, it cost me a little bit of time in repair, but so what? And I made a point of just checking, and I did a video. I uploaded a video to say, look, if you don't have these items, this is how much it's going to cost you. So that event, basically, which was supposed to be a Halloween fun event, that sort of ended up being, I think, a pretty important event. I went into the high level targets, and my flagship died before completing a full set. The second I put the cormorants on, okay, and I did put a couple of Gales 4s on, the new ones and that sort of stuff there, and all of a sudden then my ships came back in alignment and they all died at roughly about the same amount of level across the fleet, which was categorically then, to me, on my razor tails, that if you didn't compete in that event the weekend before, you were at a disadvantaged situation before you even started this raid, which I think
very significant disadvantage, by the way.
Bang out of order as far as I'm concerned.
Even I only got 1 cormorant and 1 of the Gale 4s, and so I put both of those on my razor tail flag, and saw just even with 1 of each a significant change. So yeah, it's proof positive that that there are no more fun events, and if there is something and it gives you tech, then you better get it if you want to win on the back end.
Yeah. And for those that couldn't obviously hit those targets, then they were, the rich get richer and that sort of stuff, and the gulf and the divide gets ever more. But the thing is, that means there was something then that you had to do, and it's not fun. It's something you had to do every single weekend. But I've got a wife and I've got a family, and I want some time off because I work through the week. They shouldn't have to do that. I mean, that's going to be the way forward now with these so-called 3 events and that sort of stuff. And we don't get any weekends off at all. Something's got to give. And unfortunately, everybody is like really looking at this seriously now and going, you can only take so much, and it's really annoyed a lot of people. But yeah, so I literally, as soon as I did that preview and that sort of stuff, I looked at the damage to my flagships and I thought to myself, right, okay, then before I went and did the refit, I then went and hit the 100 and the 102 with my razors, and I noticed then there was absolutely no difference to the damage that was on them from when I finished the previous month's raid. So I thought, right, okay, now I know what I'm going to do. And I did then, because I had the tokens, outfitted my flagship. And as I said, a minute ago, I was then hitting both the 100 and the 102 for almost identical damage. And then literally, and that's even my razor tails. And then at the end of the night, I was doing a complete full tier 8 S set. And then 2 I managed to get done because I then put the cormorants on. So I did doing 2 sets, which is giving me exactly 7 hours fix. Driving really, really quickly and that sort of stuff. No cruise. And I did two sets, and then so that's 20 million straight away. Go to bed, get up in the morning, do another 2 sets, go to work, come home, they're all fixed again. So that's the way I did it basically. And I got 200 million points virtually, not far off. So it wasn't a huge rush, but a little bit sneaky. Anyway,
strategy for what you had to work with.
Yeah, very much so. And I have to say one thing though, like you said, as you said there, Ren, 60s in the tides, you didn't have to drive them as well. I think about the 65, I think about 1 in 10 target took me over the 5 minutes damage range. And I've never refitted my prototype since I first.
Yeah, but and you have a point on that slide, and I want to say that because that keeps annoying the crap out of me. And I had given that feedback to just Mike when he was working for Kixeye, and I thought they were going to change that, but the Fangtooth, they don't work in the raid, but they keep offering Fangtooth for sale, and they keep offering now this week the TLC to get the Fangtooth, and I wonder why.
Yeah.
I mean, a player who doesn't watch TFC or who doesn't read pages and whatnot, goes, okay, I'm going to get this Fangtooth because it looks cool and it's a sub, and I'm going to do the raid. And, it's just a freaking waste of time. They should not be offering Fangtooth at all. Via TLC, via offers, it should not be offered at all. Or it should come with a big red label, warning, it's not going to work in the raid.
Or a target that they do work in, because I recommended for my guys to build fangs because you can use the fangs with no damage to getting uranium, and
one of the blitz maybe or something. I don't know. Something.
So people built fangs, and now basically they're SOL, and so I don't understand that.
Yeah, even driving slow, if they turn around and say one of the 80s, like the 81, that's doable with fangs. It's 600k. It wouldn't have been fast, and I clocked that run. And then and then all of a sudden they go, right, well, I've only got fangs. I don't have all these other fleets, but at least I can chip away and get. It'll take me a while to do it, but I can chip away and I can get 600k, and then I can get another 600k. At least they better to go forward. Or I don't expect them to do a full set of, but to say that they can do the 60s. I didn't even attempt it because I know some pretty good drivers of subs. Liam's not here, but hey, and they said, yeah, great, until you make the finest bit of a mistake, and then your fleet is instantly wiped out. So there's no way I'm going to do that because the fix time is nuts, even in half repair. So yeah, I think that should not have been included in the hull options, even though it is skirmish. So just for this is the first raid series where we as players turn around and say, actually, it's surface ships and basically subsurface ships are done. They're just not working. So and bear that in mind when it comes to all these targets then becoming the new map targets, for the use, because you're not going to do them either. So hulls, subs, really opening up the level 200s to get the titanium up and running, and that's about it at the moment. That's all there is. Anyway. What else we got then? Time to kill, static, no difference. I do like the fact that these targets are quite quick and they're very preppable. So both sets were very quick to do. and very preppable, which is quite nice. You notice on the stream, the big mothership thing was in the bottom left-hand corner of one of the targets. So I don't know what's happening next month. That was a sort of escalation that happened in Mantis as well, where there was a big mothership and then there were some buildings. There shouldn't be any buildings in Skirmish, but we might have to kill that mothership at the end. I don't really know, which would be interesting if you could try and use subs. But yeah, anyway. That's it. Yeah, apart from obviously, I think somebody at Kixeye had their in-laws over or the step kids or something, because somebody was messing around with the damage control buttons. You know, come Friday night, it was just nuts. You know, I even went down to 60 to myself. I thought to myself, hang on a minute, I've got a full set with a flagship. I've got all the goodies on it, and I'm hitting down 2 tiers. What the hell's going on here?
It wasn't consistent. I mean, I understand that they have to make they've got a metric that they have to meet, and I understand that. But normally it's like you do some on Thursday and then the damage increases on Friday, but then it's static. But this time around it wasn't, because I did 2 different hours and I waited the first couple of days and then did one on Friday when it was, and then it was like completely different again on whenever the heck it was that I was doing it. It was like they were tweaking.
Oh, they were tweaking the damage throughout the raid. I mean, from the first few hours to the first night, damage was almost twofold. Then I think they realized they overdid it. Then by some point on Friday, it was somewhere in between, you know. And I don't know if they changed. After that, I didn't notice anymore. But I've noticed at least 3 different difficulties. Like first few hours, first night, then on Friday. You know,
it is annoying, I have to say, and you know, it does beg the questions we said in the open mic last weekend. Was, you know, no matter what you do to your ships, whether you have the greater stuff or the crapper stuff on them, if we all have crap ships, they're just going to adjust the damage to so our ships can do it to whatever their value return is that they are content with. If we fit all the latest stuff on them, they're then going to readjust it so that all our stuff is still getting the same value return. We're a bit mugs, aren't we, really?
My impression overall is like before, it used to be that you build a flagship and you get the special stuff and whatnot, and you get a little bit ahead, right? This time you have to get everything special. You have to get everything limited, so you don't fall too far behind. You're still going to fall behind because, like you said, the top setup versus the top targets this month were taking more damage than the top versus top a month ago. You know.
Yeah. And
so even people who did everything, and knew what they were doing, were taking more damage this month. So you still fell behind. So it's kind of like, where's the satisfaction of doing everything and still being far worse off?
Yeah, and correlate that to what's in the FM this week now. We've got another thing for the flagship. We've got another, you know, X, Y, and Z. So you need to go and get them. Then you got to refit them. And if you don't, you'll fall back again, you know, even more. So, you know.
Well, and the other thing too is that, and it's really frustrating, is there's no reward for good driving.
Those days are gone. I said that in the Manti raid stuff. There's guaranteed damage no matter what. And it has been for 3 raid series now. Yeah. No one gets rewarded for being a good driver. To say that we're a skillful builders, well, to be honest, it's always handed to you virtually how to. I mean, you might change the odd armor, and you might go a slightly different on attack mod or something like that. But to be honest, it's pretty fixed. And
it's all the same thing. I mean, you clearly keeps more and more aggressive effort to get the players to spend on repairs, because they have certain probably revenue targets they gotta meet, and using a shrinking player base. So you know,
which will lead us on to something else in a moment. Yeah, right. Okay, let's have a look. Next slide. Right. Okay, so that's a bit of the Dragon's Lair. Yeah, the yo-yo event. Let's call that one damage-wise. Okay, points. We were content, Robin, weren't we? Basically, no changes.
Yeah, they kept. I was happy they kept the 70k on the lowest targets. They did not. I was worried that was going to drop back this month, but it didn't. So they still kept the 70k, and then with no hit down penalty. So
that is good.
Yeah, we like that one.
So pretty.
Gotta throw them a bone, because it's the first time in a long time they don't do a hit down penalty on the second raid of a cycle. Sometimes they would relieve that on the first, but I always come back on the second. This time it didn't. So kudos to that.
Yeah, I mean tier 8s and the 100s and 102s were very low to start with in drip rate, but they did pick up on that and that sort of stuff. I saw a couple of notes from Chris to say, yeah, we're going to change the percentages first between the older targets last month and the newer ones, and then what they did, I think that the drip rate went up as well, because then there was no real issues, I think, after sort of like late Saturday sort of stuff. So not ideal, but yeah, there was definitely a better vibe to it. I'm quite happy. I must admit, the no hit down on the 60 series is really, really good. And I did a stack on the BP app, out walking my dog and that sort of stuff, which is, in reflection, proper sad. But there you go. That's the way it is. You know, it's still better than sitting here in front of a screen doing nothing. At least I was out doing something active. So, but yeah, it's just odd that I've got such a high level tier 8 fleet that I couldn't actually use it without ripping it to pieces. But not to worry. Right. So yeah. So what could we get? Basically, you know, initially it started at about 110 million for the new stuff. You know, forget tokens, all that sort of stuff. Free Proto-Apollo. You should have all got that now, because I literally just logged in before this started and mine flashed up. So you should all basically be able to see your free Proto-Apollo. It's only got, you know, it is literally fitted out with the basics. Okay, absolute basics. You're not getting anything funky. It's not got all the armor and full of missiles. It is basically a bit of a hull and the special on it sort of stuff. So that's what they did last time. You get a basically blank, and you, at least it's given to you, and you haven't got to build it. Although it's, I mean, if you thought you were going to get completely fitted out with weapons and that sort of stuff, you're very naive, because that was never going to happen.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
But it saved, I think it saved about 25, 27 hours.
With the special as well, yeah. I don't know what the special is.
Yeah, it's close to 30 hours of build time you don't need to do because you got it.
They didn't have to do it. They could have made us build them all 5. So, you know, and like I said before last week, so far, Proto Centurions, Proto Tides, there are no flagships. So I'd like to feel fairly confident there shouldn't be a flagship for this one. It should go straight off the mark. I'll be surprised if it does bring out one. Bear in mind, Tides had a flagship. You know, so let's hope that they don't bring one out. Otherwise, what's the point giving us a freebie? So I'm thinking this is probably in lieu of a flagship. And if it's not, well, they've given you the hull and the special fitted already. So yeah, prizes were good, but there's a so what to that then. Interesting little hull, this little beast in the corner, which we'll talk about in a second. But to be honest, there are some interesting specials up here as well, which can be utilized on other hulls. They're not locked down, which is quite nice. And this thing here, I think after the PvP refractor, is going to be fun to utilize once the stat adjustments to TAC mods for PvP have been completed. And the number one prize to me in the raid was obviously this armor in the bottom right hand corner. So yeah. Right. Anybody else?
I didn't get the flagship. I just the Poseidon, whatever. I just ignored that one.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people going. I mean, I keep on saying it, and I still insist that don't build any freaking complete hull systems and that sort of stuff. Build a blank, maybe get it ranked in VXP Weekend, but build. That's it. Stop. Pause from that. Unless you particularly want something in your guard, or you're missing something specifically, or you're rich, you know, and you've got 26 million coins to spend, which you're just going to end up wasting, to be honest, because you know the refactor is coming. But yeah, that's the funky stuff at the top end. So a nice range of prizes there, and some that can be utilized right across the game, which I like for a change. However, this is what happened to us on Saturday. Boom! Yeah, it's a busy screen. It's meant to be, because that's what dropped on us again. Okay.
Yeah, that wall of text is like the brick that hit players in the forehead when they just added all that crap to the prize list.
Yeah.
This is so frustrating. And I normally have time to do the raid, didn't this time. So this really woke my eyes up to how annoying this is. You know, I can understand them adding something in if something gets forgotten. I can understand them adding, you know, something in if something special comes out. But why are we doing this halfway through the raid? You know, if somebody, and this has been brought up before, somebody spends their time, figure out what they're going to do, and then goes off and does something for a day, and then finds out later, oh, they added X, Y, Z. And Ren, you said, and I thought your explanation was really cool about how you talk about how many targets you have to do a day.
Yeah, it's how I plan my raid. I mean, I kind of see what I want, and let's say I say, okay, I need 200 million points, and that's 20 sets, and I have 4 days, so that means I gotta do 5 sets a day, and I'll get everything I want. And then day one, I do my 5 sets. Maybe I do 6 or 7. So that means in the last day, I do a little bit less or whatever, right? And I plan like that so that now I can, okay, you know what, I'm going to go out for dinner and I got to come back. And this time I plan my weekend and knowing that, okay, if I sit down for that long, I'll do my 5 sets on Saturday, I'll do my 5 sets on Sunday, and my raid will be done. So when they get on Saturday and add a whole bunch of crap, my whole planning goes down the drain, and it's done on purpose. I mean, that is done to create a false sense of pressure on the players so they coin repairs and they do more targets. Because now, all of a sudden, instead of 5 sets today, I mean, just for those, let's say if I wanted the hyper 30s, it's 125 million. So all of a sudden, I got to do 13 sets more just for the hyper 30s, which is something I would like to have. I didn't redeem a single one of them. I just said screw. I literally said screw that, and I didn't get. I might have gotten a D6M, a few D6Ms that from that list.
And those things were really, really important, or potentially will go forward into, you know, when people look at the Proto-Apollos and that sort of stuff, and they're thinking what to build, and, you know, those key released special armors that are limited and that sort of stuff, you know. And you're right, if someone just says, well, look, I can do Thursday, Friday, but I've got something to do this weekend, so you plan out what you're going to do, you go bang, 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 you spend your points as you're going along, that sort of stuff, because you never know what's going to happen. Particularly, everyone does that on raid because you can start fitting out straight away, and all of a sudden these extra prizes come in and you're going, I've been after hyper 30s for 2 weeks, and all of a sudden I've got to find another 25 million. I can't do the you know, the tier 8s, and now I wish I never went and got X instead. I should have got that. You know, it's a bit annoying as far as I'm concerned.
Well, and how well, first off, you didn't get the hypers except for one raid, I believe it was, where they were hard coded to a target. The rest of the time, it's like sharp lotto in the first place, so you got to like do 100 targets to get one of it. But how is somebody that is trying to catch up or is you know, coming back to the game, they can't get this at 25 million? You know, not unless they're going to spend 6 days constantly raiding. You know, so it worries me that, you know, we have the limited stuff, and I understand that it's limited, and I understand that it's not supposed to be a gimme, and that you're supposed to work for it. But we're locking out players by doing some of this stuff.
And on your topic, I mean, especially the hyper 30, it makes such a huge difference to the performance of your fleets on the top targets. It's like huge, night and day, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I tested it. I can tell. I mean, I ran some fleets with hyper 10, and it helps. But if they want to offer the hyper 30 for 25 million, I mean, when was last time the hyper 20 was offered? Why not offer the hyper 20 for 5 million, 7 million points? I don't know, something like that. You know, make it affordable so players who can get the hyper 30 can get the hyper 20. You know, and for God's sake, I mean, put that from the beginning of the raid. So again, players can plan. I can, okay, I have more free time on Friday. I'll do more sets on Friday. I mean, you do that on Saturday, you know, it's just bad.
Yeah,
it's bad form. That underhanded way of putting pressure on players. So now they're going to have to coin repairs to do more because you added that huge list of things.
Yeah, Captain Lockheed made a point, you know, that the Hyper 20 should be in the FM. That's where it started. It was in the FM.
No, it was never in FM. No. Hyper 10 is in FM.
10
Hyper 20 was in TLCs.
Yeah, it was a TLC. And it's never been back since, has it?
No, it hasn't been. That TLC hasn't been offered. Like, I don't even know which one it was.
Anyway, okay, right. Yeah, so a couple of bugs that we had then, basically issues on entering target. Some were unable to join their battle, which was slightly frustrating to say the least. Okay, until it was too late and then it was all over. Increased damage as the raid progressed. We've discussed that already. Locator is still broken and sending you all over the place. I think that's a time lag issue because I did test that. You know, I sort of like logged on, went in, you know, looked at the target, you know, on the world map, that stuff. You know, waited 3 or 4 minutes, then hit the locator. You know, and then it wasn't horrendous, but sometimes it still sent me to another sector, and I was driving past targets yet again. And yes, the event was super laggy in some sectors, massively, in fact, for some people. So, which then obviously linked into problem 1 at the top. So, not ideal, but we have had worse, I have to say. Yeah, did someone say lag? As Forge just said, yeah, it was laggy. All right, but then again, that may all go away now. We'll see. Yeah, we'll just scan through the quick blueprints then. So there's the Proto-Apollo for you. You know, watch this back afterwards, have a little scan at the statistics and that sort of stuff. Duplicate aura cap is 5, so whatever you put on 1, the special abilities go right across the fleet, okay? So that'll be quite nice. You'll enjoy that once you get them built. You know, it's a shame Liam's not on tonight. I thought he was going to be, but I was going to get him to talk about Apollos and putting a full set of switchblades on, because we've had that. Do you remember that, Ren? Maybe 2 years ago, when we were talking about how are your switchblades, you know, and he was going, oh, I'm sticking with them, that sort of stuff, and then slowly he sort of ebbed away from them, sort of thing, because, you know, they're great, but up until the point that obviously you've got incoming, and then as soon as you've got incoming, the countermeasure starts working, you stop firing. So there are other things available now that can obviously shoot down missiles, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but and I don't think it's going to be a big problem, because the current targets, they don't fire that many missiles at once. The thing with the old mega hull targets in the Apollo raid original is like there was a never-ending stream of missiles from the mega hull, so enough to put the Apollo switchblades in countermeasure mode for almost ever. So it will take them a long time to kill things.
I mean, the nice thing is this is look, this is an additional hull to the Manticore. Most people have got Manticores, and most people have got Skyfires and that sort of stuff. You know, even when the map targets do change, which will be very soon, you know, we are definitely there'll be a target that even a Skyfire will do, the very, very lowest one. I know it's not ideal and that sort of stuff, but if you've got Manticores, you'll be able to hit some of the world map targets, maybe a bit more damage as Apollos, because that's our reason. But there's no must go build this whole moment. You don't need to.
I just want to ask a favor. I mean, people, you know, like keep a phone book nearby, like one of those yellow pages, old, thick, heavy phone books. That's what I'm talking about. And whenever people ask on the TFC page if the Apollos are meant to get uranium, just please hit them hard. Because I've seen 2 or 3 already posting, oh, what are these new Apollos for? Are they good for uranium? I just wish I could hit that person with a phone book in the head.
So just to be absolutely clear, okay, then the siege targets is the Proto-Centurion. Okay, then you've got the skirmish targets, which is the Proto-Apollo. Okay, so these are the assault targets. Sorry, the Proto-Type.
See?
The Proto-Apollo, this one.
Where's my phone book?
Which will become
this is a thick skull, not going to work.
Okay? The assault target, very much like, obviously, the Skyfire target and that sort of stuff. This is titanium.
I'm actually looking forward to building these, because the Apollo by far has been, for me anyway, the most fun hull to drive. Very nimble, very, you know, able to move around. So I'm looking forward to see how these ones do.
Well, you know, and it's fun, right? I mean, build the Manticores, use the Manticores, cry and whine about the cost of repairing Manticores, and now build Proto-Apollos because their repair time's better than the Manticores. Yay.
I built the other 2
just
sets,
like driving them.
you know, and you know, I'm still sticking with the 1 raid fleet. You know, I've said that right from day dot, and so far it's doing me okay. Not perfect, but doing me okay. I didn't get as many points as Ren and that sort of stuff, but on average, the time I've saved and that sort of stuff, I've managed to refit quite a few.
And the good thing about the Apollos, you can also use them to get base parts.
Yeah, I'm quite content, and they do the dailies as well, which is quite nice. You know, you can go through the Apollos soon, and you'll be able to get some
Mayhem.
the Mega Mayhem.
Nobody's going to say anything.
I'm hoping the Mega Mayhem will be good for it with a bit of luck. We'll see. But anyway, yeah.
So Corey asked on chat if Manticores need scrapping. I mean, if you build a fleet of Apollos and they're doing well, you might scrap, but honestly, just put them in storage.
Put them in storage.
You can store 60 ships now.
A freaking TLC will come out, and then you'll have to have Manticores, and then you can't go in. So don't do it, mate. We've got plenty of space at the moment. I really wouldn't scrap your Manticores just yet.
Yeah, look at what happened. Yeah, look at what happened with the icebreakers. You know, everybody got rid of those, and then Base Race came out, and everybody was like, eh.
Well, it's like you need you need PBX to go do one of the TLCs and that sort of stuff. So at the moment, so you know, if you've got the space, don't scrap. Well, I'm the worst offender for doing it, but you know, anyway, right. So there you go, Proto-Apollo. We'll scan over the other ones quickly. But that's the blueprint. That's the most important bit.
But sorry, to the questions too. I mean, don't scrap. But I think if the question were, should I have the Proto-Apollos in place of the Manticores? I would say yes. They will do better.
But
right? And if some player by any chance did not build Manticores ever, and they did less raid, I don't know, with Skyfires or whatever, and now they got the blueprint for the Proto-Apollo, just keep Manticores and just build this instead.
Yeah.
it performs better.
Yeah, cool. That was its special. Okay, anti-missile proliferation system tool. It's a lot of words, isn't it? Anyway, so it's got a bit better stats, basically.
People can't say refactor. Do you think they're going to be able to say proliferation?
Probably
Really?
not.
I got caught in this because it was in tier 6 and I was rushing and wasn't paying attention. So not only did I not get these, I didn't get the free Apollo.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, but it's okay.
Damn.
I like this though. But yeah, so I'm hoping this will be back next raid so I can fill in the blanks. But yes,
So this is a missile tracking system too, basically. It's a little bit better than the previous one by a few percentage and that sort of stuff. Enjoy it. This one's linked to Garrison Assault. I don't think the other one's tied to anything at all. I can't quite remember, but I don't think it is. I'm sure somebody will point me out to be quite wrong if I am wrong. So we're all good at doing that sort of stuff to each other. Good. Here you go. Here's the basically new Switchblade. It's not bad, actually, because obviously it's... does twin sort of like what have we got there? We've got damage of 8k, which is quite nice. And what else did I see something about it as well? The corrosive defense is 3%, so that's pretty decent. Weight, it's a bit of a chunky one, I have to say. It needs to go on a bit of a diet, but if you mix this up with some of the other missiles that came actually for the Manti, you can actually have quite a fun fleet. I was messing around a little bit with some builds, and yeah. I don't like going these all sort of like twin shot type, twin effect weapon systems, because you do get caught with your pants down sometimes if something's coming at you. Oops.
Oh my gosh, the time to build these.
Yeah, not nice, is it?
It's like 14 hours.
Yeah, it's a bit crazy. If there's ever ever a time to say use the pro build button, then this is it, to be honest. But that's if you want to go down that avenue. It's up to you.
Sorry, Daniel, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, it's all right. That flak evasion stat of 80% makes me wonder what they're going to stick in the SSRBs.
Yeah, something nasty.
Something to shoot down a lot of stingers or something if they don't have enough flak evade on them. So
yeah. But we can get some tokens and mess around and that sort of stuff.
No.
So.
Did we mention that the way it's displaying the damage is currently botched in the game?
Actually, that got fixed.
Oh, did they fix that today?
Yeah, I just checked it while you guys were chatting because I've been on mute.
Oh, okay, good. So yeah, the damage was like you put one missile on an Apollo, and instead of the 8,000 or the 8,000 plus the bonus of 75%, it was showing like 22,000. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah, it was the multi-shot stat was getting intermixed.
It was mixing up the multi-shots from the countermeasure mode with the damage from the missile and multiplying, and so it was getting all mixed up.
Shouldn't do, yeah.
Be
careful on that one. So yeah, against the Stinger and that sort of stuff. Actually, the Stinger does twin damage types as well. So actually, it's pretty comparable. Although this one looks better initially, looking at reload time and everything. So
yeah,
but it's the flak evade. We don't know. The Stinger doesn't have that, so.
It's the reload primarily because, I mean, the targets right now on map, the map targets for Titanium don't have counter missiles on them. So you have the Stinger doing 9,600 every 6 seconds plus nearly 2,000 of corrosive.
It's virtually 12k, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have this guy doing 8 every 4 seconds unless it's counter measuring. So what I'm doing on my Proto-Apollos, I'm mixing them up.
Yeah, just in case flak evade is needed and that sort of stuff. But Stingers are great. I mean, the reload time on Stingers is 6, but like I said, it's got a third again, as much damage. So, and obviously, if you use the fancy one, you get a 5% speed up boost as well.
Yeah,
which is nice. But anyway, yeah. So there we go. There's an option. It's just a bit chunky. Over 1,000 is a little bit heavy, I think, for what it is, but. Radio, that's that. Yeah, this is interesting, isn't it? So this thing is an explosive defense, tac, field resistance, and slow resistance. So where would you stick this thing?
I
mean, it's not linked. That's the nice thing about it. It's not linked to any particular PvE or PvP. So you can mess around with it, but obviously it takes up a slot. So you need to be a little bit cautious.
Well, Mark, you use a tactical module on yours.
Yeah, true. I do.
Could be used in place of it, although yours has better performance as far as
7%. Yeah,
resistance. It lacks the explosive defense. However, I'm not so sure we need it as high as we're getting these anyway.
You're right. So slow resistance is a bit less, and tack is a little bit less, but you got more defense. Saying that, we are right up there on explosive defense already in the 90-something of us. So I'm not so sure. But it doesn't necessarily mean within this raid set you can use it for other things as well. So it isn't tied to any particular hull. It's Forsaken tech, so obviously the build time is going to be adjusted now, but and the weight reduction as well. And it's only 9%, so it's not bad for what it is. But yeah, play. Anyway, it's down to the individual, which is nice, which is quite rare these days as to where you put things. On top of that one, then this one I do like a lot. So this
I do like this one a lot.
Yeah, this has got some nice stats on this one. It's also a nice print. Well done to the art team, by the way. I like this one. It's I think it's looks like some V8 Mustang engine gone wrong, but it's a V6. But hey, you know, yeah. So ups the reload on both concussive and rocket, which is nice.
Yep,
it's
really
linked
like that.
to a skirmisher hull, so you could put it on something else as well. You get countermeasure ranges, you get anti-mortar ranges. So this, you know, you've got a chance to mess around with this thing. I quite like it. Weapon weight is a little bit chunky at 20%. You know, I was hoping it'd be around 14, but it does actually boost quite a lot of stuff. You know, anti-mortar range is 75%.
I mean, that guy could I mean, even work on an Infernal Dragon, as long as there's that Infernal Dragon is not running your anti-missile, because it won't boost anti-missile. But if you had, let's say, sprints and gales and rockets on your Infernal Dragon or your Greta Infernal Dragon, I mean, you could put that guy in game reload and buff your countermeasures, and it's light.
Yeah, for that it is. Yeah, and you probably give up 2 special spots for 1 item there.
Yep.
So you got a double game really, to be honest. So I like this one, and I just like this series. They're not tying them into holes, which is great. So have fun with that one. Yes, and then this is something that Ren didn't get, and I wasn't going to, but ended up, you know, because I managed to do that, do the 102, 100 sort of, and then at night time smash out a couple of biggies. And I did manage to get this, which I wasn't thinking about, but I managed on Sunday night to realize that actually I could. So, you know, it's there. You know, it's the buff ship, which is going to help out your, you know, your witch doctors and your revenants and that sort of stuff. But penetrative pass-through, see, you still got the 360 and all that sort of stuff, you know, and the deflection numbers are in there. Yeah, statistics are interesting on this one there. Armor points are quite high. I've seen this thing in action a couple of times. Yeah, but that's the point. Everything's going to change. So the stats don't really... Well, to be honest, the only thing that's going to change, should change, really, is the defensive stats and then the pass-through figures. Pass-through will disappear, obviously, and defensive will get a new figure. So if you're going to get it, basically get it and just build it blank and that sort of stuff. But I have seen people already hitting with the darn thing, you know, because they're super keen. So, yeah, great. If that's your thing, then go play with it and go get it. But you will be refitting it, I promise you. I would be surprised if you didn't anyway. It's I don't think it's a lead ship. I wouldn't go put it in front, but you can definitely trail with it because that aura thing, is it still got the 100 range where it gives the, or is it 60 range? What's the range of this aura cap? 75, sorry. There it is, 75. So you get a bit more concussive and corrosive sort of stuff, and the boost for the damage as well, which is quite decent. So yeah, but if you think that tac mod that does a transfer healing effect, like you do off hopes and that sort of stuff, if you'd put that, you know.
Do you have hope?
I have got a hope, yeah.
Okay.
But the concept of the hope, you know, the way it does transfer of health from itself into its other guard ships as well, you know, that concept now can be done in attacking, because obviously that new tac mod obviously does that health transfer, doesn't it? So you've got a really strong ship, but it's not really good as a lead ship. At least it can do a support concept. Or you can do 2 of them with it, you know, because you could get up to 3, couldn't you? So you could have like one ship that's really, really buffed with tons of evade and very little, you know, weapons systems on it, but it can get through a guard fleet and support it with 2 ships in behind that, you know, within that 100 range, and it could just almost like push through a guard. And as long as that one ship survives, then you're in the back, to be honest. But yeah. Anyway, concepts in PvP. I've seen plenty over the weekend. And here it is, look. That Reconstruction Matrix. So this thing's quite interesting. So the first time that you can put this on a Conqueror and a Defender of this type of thing, I hope had it built in, but this means it's attack.
I mean, other than the Gluttony, because you could literally put a Gluttony in and it transfers health. But
automatically, yeah. Although they've sort of been ruled out now, haven't they? But, you know. I'm not using a hope, but I have seen quite a few people that still are. So, was it Agni that had one in? Well, I can't remember who it was. Anyway,
Well, we gotta wait for the refractor,
Oh gosh, yeah.
the retractor, so we can see how that's gonna be. Right, and I mean, if in other circumstances, I would even say that we'll cross that bridge when we get to that. But this being the Battle Pirates community, I'm gonna say we'll burn that bridge when we get to that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I've got a couple of these. I did collect them on purpose because I can see these being really, really helpful in base hitting, even more so than in base defense. Just the way that you can support and only because it's the 100 range. That's a really decent range, I think, for a support aura. You know.
Yeah, the main problem though, it's you at the bottom there. You can see the efficiency.
90%, yeah, and 75, yeah.
So, you know, if you transfer 150, and I don't remember how, if you transfer 150, but the other guy gets 135, or if you give 150, but you also lose an extra 10%. But there is a loss. In the end, when you look at your entire fleet, there's a net loss of health by using that. Which doesn't matter if you can get your tank ship, your lead ship to survive and get where you want. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the obviously the weekend sort of like, you know, preview stuff, there are still a couple of people with a tank ship and a couple of others, and then also with a bus and a support ship and that sort of stuff for it, you know. So it's still out there, and people are doing quite well. Some pretty good base hitting, you know. There are down to individuals. Everyone has their own player style. I just like this. It's something that's been missing for a long time, and I like it's in there. It gives you a bit more flex, and it can go in base defense or in attacking. So. As an addition to PvP, I like it.
Yeah, it could also almost mean the difference between a win or a loss, you know, especially come like bounty and that kind of stuff. Yeah,
no, definitely. Yeah, no, I agree. If you can get that, you know, that beast of a ship that you all long to build and get that through the guard, and then it's, you know, its own inbuilt buff for its you know, deflection is strong enough once it all changes, that is, then you can have fun. I think, to be honest. I'm sure there'll be some you know, innovative builds coming our way. Right, and this one I like particularly. So this is number 2, and I sort of show people at the weekend, basically. This will change. So yeah, at the moment, yeah, this is number 2. The stats at the moment for deflection are the same as the other ones, you know, the XR plate and that sort of stuff, but it's been missing. So here it is. It's worth it getting because obviously, a quick cap is 2 on this one here. The level 3 quick cap's 1, the level 1 quick cap's 3. So, you know, it's nice.
So when do you think the level 3 is coming? Bounty?
I was surprised it wasn't in the FM, so it's probably gonna be bounty. Yeah, it's probably gonna be bounty, and then we'll get, you know.
So it's a good reason to not install this one unless you really need it to hit bases right now. But
yeah, it
wait
didn't
a
take too
couple
long
weeks,
to fit.
get level 3.
Yeah, it didn't take too long to fit. I've already put this on one of my ships already, so it didn't take long. There's not much going in the PvP world at the moment, is there, for building? So it was just a case of swap this out, number 1 for number 2, because I had nothing else to do anyway. So Screen Splash. Sorry, moving on then. VXP Weekend. There you go. It starts, it ends. Dead exciting. Okay, go hit targets. You normally got them up for the first. Yeah, same again. Then the big funky ones are up for the first 36 hours, and they go away, and then you got to grind it out basically on the Sunday. So right through to the Monday. Enjoy it. Normally, if you kill the whole target, obviously you get a Defender VXP token. So it says that'll be fine. You can still get that. Not there's that many Defenders out there at the moment to get, but yeah, VXP. We do it all every month, same thing all the time. So not that exciting. Right. Repeat.
Are we going to see the High Guard Siren too?
This is all we've got so far, mate.
Oh.
That was it so far, to be honest, mate. All I've got so far now is to talk about is obviously the TLCs. They haven't really changed, to be honest. They're still pretty nasty. Most people get as far as price pack 3 and then stop. If you start them early, then obviously you can grind it out and that sort of stuff. But there's no way I'm coining through a TLC to get stuff that you can get, with a bit of extra grinding for low-level targets in a raid series. So, but if you didn't take part in the raid, then fine. Say again, Daniel.
That's how I'm building my bat race, doing these things in tokens and.
Yeah. Are you managing the mastery round as well? I mean, some people they turned them down now. It wasn't as damaging as before. Yeah.
Well, I drive my manis pretty darn good, so I mean I get through it. And yeah, there's 8-9 hours of damage at the highest level of the thing, and then you go to bed and it's available for the next day.
Yeah, I got that. So you get through prize pack 1 to 3 pretty quick, and then slow 1 a day sort of thing for the other one. Yeah,
right, 1 or 2.
Got you.
By the time do it in the morning, and then repair while on work. But
okay, there's logic in that. So yeah, Devil's Driver, as we know, use Mantic Cores, Salt, and that sort of stuff, and there's your prize packs, and obviously you do get obviously the mastery round gets you particularly some really good stuff there. So that's great. And on the opposing side, the Whiplash TLC obviously is for the Razor and that sort of stuff. Same concept really. Takes you way through. Be cautious fitting out your flagship, because obviously in the FM there are some new prizes out there, and one of them is specifically for the Occam as well. So
because we like limited specials and weapons.
Yeah, funny old thing, eh?
Yeah.
Just another way to encourage you to fit out your ship yet again. So yeah, it is what it is, but we've it's there. So correlate this before you actually start, if you want to this time, to have a look at the FM prizes first, and then work out which way you want to go if you are doing adjustments. So that's Whiplash. Hunter Games is back out again. Whilst it says skirmisher chests, please note they're not. They are skirmisher chests, but they are linked to Hunter and Hunter alone. So it's a bit naughty. They call them skirmisher chests. They may just call it a Hunter chest. So just be cautious on that one there. It's not a horrendous TLC to do, but if you want to go and get some of these, then obviously the Hunters did quite well on the low-level targets. Or you just want to top up some of your tokens for later. But that one's not a bad one. And the last one then is Hidden Depth. We like this one because if you have got, obviously, proto tides, if you have got, either bat rays or razor tails, you can basically smash through this whole thing and then just fix at the end of it, which is what I did quickly earlier on, just to get yourself the 1-day skirmisher class build tokens in price pack 4, which are generic, so you can keep those.
Yeah, I ordered this just before the show. Actually, I did the whole shebang with the razors, and I think I got 5 hours and 12 minutes damage.
Yeah,
for the whole complete thing. So you figure 5 hours for 3 days of tokens that I can use to refit stuff from the FM. So well worth it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. It's the nice thing about it, yeah. So I think everybody's probably already maxed out on Fang-Tooth tokens that can actually, stack them away and get this thing done pretty easy. But yeah, that generic build token at the end is always a nice thing to have, because there you go, you can put that special on that's for the Occam or for the bat ray flag as well, because hopefully it shouldn't take more than 3 days. So don't tell anybody, but it should be free if you do this one. Don't know how long the build time is. I haven't looked at the FM, but there's an option there for at least 3 days worth of build tokens. So. Rightio, let's move on to some more interesting stuff and more up-to-date and current. So, set to Consolidation. How did you feel missing Battle Pirates for 12 hours? Did everybody have withdrawal symptoms? Did anybody have to go to a priory or anything like that? You were right, were you?
Had a lot of fun on the thread last night. Everybody played real nice, and it was kind of cool. There was some really cool memes that come out, and so yeah.
The memes were amusing me. They were amusing when I went to bed, and they were amusing me even more when I woke up this morning, and it still wasn't back on.
Was enough for me to finish House of Cards.
Really?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I had 4 episodes to go on the new season. I just finished them last night.
We also should have done a thread with what to do when there's no BP. Because we all complain about it massively, and then we all whinge like hell when it's
binge watch something.
Yeah. Well, I found out that little old ladies don't like it when you're tired and drive on the wrong side of the road in retirement villages. And then
yes, of course. Yes.
spend some time reading, and so that was pretty cool. But props to Kix. This was a long one. They told us up front that it was going to be a long one. Big thank yous to, I'm on opposite time zone, so it was reasonable hour for me. I know the Kix folks were up very, very late, and I just want to thank Chris for staying on Discord through the whole thing and kind of letting everybody know where it was go and what stage they were at and where they were at.
He was up mega late, wasn't he? Like last night. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was annoying sitting through it, and I'm sure there were a lot of people that wanted to get back in there and find out where they're at and what they were doing. But they did do a really good job of the communication while this was going on this one.
Yeah, you can't say they weren't. Look, I'm not going to just go through about all the problems. We know there's problems. Okay, listen, this is probably one of the biggest game updates for a considerable long time. Actually, reading down through that list of top 9 sort of things that are sort of about that have issues going on. The Apollo hole, that's done now, so we can take that one out. Okay, lag, I think, has gone away a little bit. I'm finding mine's a bit better. Initially, it wasn't, but it seems to, be a little bit better now. But yeah, so still relocators a bit. Anyway, there's a list of things there. You all know them because you've been on the game. So in all honesty, I don't think it's horrendous. We know you can hop around the 20 sectors you're in currently, but you can't hop around the worlds as of yet, although the worlds are only 20 sectors themselves. And talking of sectors then, so in Gamma, where I jumped to, which was 217, and basically we were going to put, and Robin, you were 237, weren't you? Is that right?
No, well, we jumped from 237 to 217 before.
Yeah. So basically all the higher ones, 2, 3, 2, 5, 7, 7, and 9, 7 are all going to amalgamate into 217 as an example. What we weren't sure was, and they said they weren't going to tell us what was going to happen, all those amalgamated sectors now have all gone into sector 57. So that's how it's worked, basically. So there's now 100 sectors. There always was going to be 100 sectors. They're still in 5 worlds. Okay, there's just 20 sectors per world, but they're just called now numbers 1 to 100. So just don't think that you're like, hang on a minute, I was in 57 and now I'm down in sector, I don't know what it would be, probably 6 or 7 or something like that, Yeah, 7, wouldn't it? Because that's, because someone just said to me, I'm trying to move back today. I want to get back to sector such and such. And I went, well, that sector's not your sector. Yeah, it is. It's still on the map. I went, well, it is sort of still on the map. But to be honest, that's a lot of people that were from Epsilon and you're not going to know anybody. But that's the sector I was born in. I went, yeah, but it's been renumbered. It's not your sector.
Yeah.
So anyway, he managed to rebase. I don't know. It's a chap on the page. He's gone up there now. It's just because he wanted the number. That was it. Oh, that's fair enough. That's what he wants. He just wanted to stay in the same number. Although it's a different number, if you know what I mean. But
there were... Oops, sorry.
No, I was going to say, it's just don't hanker over numbers. You just want to be amongst people really, to be honest. But it's just
there are a couple of things that there were a couple of alliances that got busted up, and I'm not sure what drove that, if they were sitting on the edge or what have you. And then there were people that clicked on bookmarks that were no longer bookmarks, like Haffle, who are now in purgatory because of it. Kix is giving basically 7 days of freebies of base jumps. The first one was 12 hours. So, like we all landed in 57 and said, oops, we're going to go over here. So we all jumped over there in 57. But every day now for the next 7 days, you get a free jump. So if your alliance did get busted up and you're still in the same world, you've got time to do this, and there's no charge to do this. And so it's not a huge deal if people got split up. So take advantage of that, get yourself situated, and figure out where you're going to be, and use that.
And we had people just now asking in chat if some people still are under the impression that because sectors now go from 1 to 100, they can just relay through all of them. No, you cannot. The words are still divided in now stacks of 20. So 1 to 20, 21 to 40, and so it goes until you get to 81 to 100. Each 20 sectors make one word, and you can jump across, but you cannot relay outside your word. It's just a much smaller word now.
Yeah, go to the towers. It'll tell you straight away. Go to the towers, click on the sectors, go up and down the left and right arrows, and it will show you. It will just lock you down to, mine goes down as far as 40. And I think then it goes up to 59 or whatever it is, something like that. So
So it's still 5 words. You still can jump. They're still going to use them to stagger, raid, start, and whatnot. It's just all very tiny and crowded, right? I mean,
you have to get new jump points now for folks that move around.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. Did anybody look at their battle logs and see if the battle log sectors have changed as well as the? I haven't looked at that yet. I forgot to look at that. That would be interesting to look at.
I think they said that they could do, but they couldn't do the bookmarks, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, because people were jumping to bookmarks, and obviously the bookmarks of a sector that was dead, not a good idea, because obviously that caused a lockup. So, and there was a problem with megaships, wasn't there, Robin, as well?
There were a couple that went missing. I'm not exactly sure what caused that, but because mine was I left mine purposely in 237, and 237 went away, and so mine made it back. So I'm not sure. I do know the other thing too is that you can't link to Nexuses right now. So I know they're working on that. They're concentrating on the FM. FM right now. But there were some. There are some missing mega holes, and so some people are jealous that other people's lost theirs. But
Yes, so it does seem a little bit crowded, but I did zoom out to like 33% in my sector, and I had a little look around it, and I went to the bottom right-hand corner, and I took out, res, and I took out all the other stuff, and just looked, so it was just bases highlighted, and I looked around some of the SSRBs, and actually there's quite a bit of space. I know FM's on at the moment, that stuff, so it looks really, really busy, but I had a look around, and do you know what? There is quite a bit of space. I could
certainly a lot more active. Yeah, active on chat.
I already hate the chat though, because there's like at the moment it's like, why am I here and what's all this and that sort of stuff. So I'm really ignoring sector chat at the moment because it's just full of people being annoyed. But
that's okay. Nobby's out there directing traffic.
He is doing quite well actually, my brother, isn't he? Yeah. He's like a little traffic warden, bless him. But he is he's quite good. Does anything make TSM laugh? I don't know. Does anything make me laugh? I'm not really sure.
But yeah, I think all told, considering how big this was, how much work went into this, and I know there was a lot that went into it. For the things that they're working on, some are probably related to it, some are not. I actually think I was nervous. I actually think they did a bang up job.
I thought the whole thing was going to crash, and they'd have to go back. Remember the previous that updated a few years back?
No, I gotta say,
roll it back.
The main reason it didn't crash is Robin.
Yeah.
No.
She provided a crap load of feedback, and I gotta say that you guys have no clue how much feedback, how many questions, how many what ifs, multi-page long document that she prepared for Kixeye with all the scenarios that could go wrong. She doesn't like to talk about that, but I will. I mean, Robin did an amazing job questioning Kixeye and proposing scenarios and things to look for, and for this to work. And thank you, Robin.
Yeah, I would just say, I mean, before obviously Robin moved on to what she's doing now, working for us at TFC, she was a government agent, a bit of a spy. So she writes 20-page dossiers on everybody, me included. So she's got all the dirt on everybody. So don't piss her off.
TSM is lying. I was not a government.
And that's why she says she has no friends. Well, she actually has our targets.
No, well, thank you, Ren, and Ren's BSing too, because he actually put a lot of input into it you did. But I do have to give props to Kix, because everybody talks about they don't listen and oh my god and holy cow, this is going to blow up. They did a really good job of taking our concerns on board and making adjustments based on that from folks that for various areas. And so like I said, for everything that could have gone wrong, I think this one was really, really good.
And moving on, Glasnost. Right. Anyway. So let's look at this thing then. So this is the other thing that happened at the weekend as well. Sort of like, on Monday, really, which is a
reflector.
That's the I should have put in retractor or protractor or something else. I don't know, or Massey Ferguson tractor or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, so the refactor for PvP, we had the preview. And it was really, really nice. So Chris did say, let's let it roll for a first few hours, because it was a little unsettling to start with. And then we were allowed to stream. So that was really, really good. And thanks to all the guys that sort of like came in as well. No one had to sign any special funky paperwork to say that, you could share what you like. You could show anything, which is really, really nice. To be open and sort of like not sort of like over sort of candid on saying you can't say this, but you can only say that sort of stuff. So in general terms, we showed everything, warts and all. So I did an initial stream, and then obviously I went back with a second video of just some base hits, just because people like seeing base hits, don't they? To show that it was still possible to get into some bases. I mean, there were plenty of people that couldn't, and there were plenty of people that could, but it always looks better on a page to see somebody winning. So, I just did a quick video of people winning. So there were probably more people lost than won, I have to be honest. I'm working around explosive, as Venom has said. So we have, the preview as it came up, and as I said in the stream, it's still work in progress. I hate the word preview, okay, but it's not the final polished product by any stretch of the imagination. But it did make you think, and actually, to be honest, I think Venom and I and a couple of us did agree that it sort of took us back to sort of tier 5 sort of days, really, to be honest. It felt very much along those sort of lines, and sort of going towards a tier 6 sort of stuff. So it was interesting. It was worth doing. But these are the key things. I'm not going to read them all out, but you can see them on the slides. And I have posted them both in the preview stream footnote, as well as obviously the on the page as well. But you know, and now you can see the key changes as well, which is up for everybody to have a look at. So I think the biggest thing that's going to affect people as a collective is you're going to have to adjust your base. Okay, then you don't need massive islands anymore because you know your turret cap now is only with 4 turrets, and fire support doesn't stack anymore with fuel, air, munitions, that sort of stuff. So you have a lot more flex coming, you know, to get your maximum output. And it's actually going to be a lot simpler. And as Venom said there, don't panic, it isn't that bad. It isn't that bad, to be honest. And I was already thinking, oh yeah, my island's going to be that. And I was thinking, no, it doesn't have to be like that anymore. And it's really hard to unthink something that you've been doing for so long. You know, so the biggest thing, and I think Rum, if he was on as well, would say he was sitting there for a while going, hang on a minute, I've got to unthink all I've just learned now for the last 24 months. You know, so that's when it does come out, when it's actually out in the game, whatever it is they're going to do, then just have a pause moment, and then, because I was pretty, you know, vocal with my brother, probably if he was on, tell you that I was like, that's it, the sky's falling and that sort of stuff. And then when it's sunk in for a week and I've sort of looked at it again, I'm like, well, you know, it's just that you've got to remember what you sort of used to do. But there are some concerns still, but they are still ironing out some issues. But those are the key things there. So those are the bullet points that I've pulled out. Have I missed anything, Ren? Because I know you've looked at this a little bit as well.
No.
I think that's the key ones. I mean, it was a massive, great document. I mean, I had to put it on Arial size 8 to get it on one size of an A4 bit of paper. But, you know, those are the key takeaways, I think. Daniel, did you notice anything other than those key bits there?
One thing I did notice, sorry, I had to come off mute there. You know that it says that now capped at 20% with 4 turrets?
Is it now 25?
25.
It was 25 in the preview, wasn't it? In the other preview that we did.
The announcement, the document was 20.
Yeah.
Yep. In the actual preview testing session, when you run a call it was 25. They were going 6, 6, 6, and then hit magically 25 when he hit 4.
Right.
I think the things that I thought were interesting from my, you know, I hate the cookie cutter stuff. You know, you have to have your 4 warehouses around your island or around your OP on your island. You have to have 8 of a specific turret
Everyone was
type.
the same, weren't they?
Yeah, and everything was the same. It was just a matter of, did you get 8 quicker than I did, or you know, maybe you're using a different special. And now it's like we've kind of gone back a little bit where you can be more creative. So, you know, I can get the maximum cap that I can with a lot less, and so I don't have to have this or this. Now you can have, you know, a little bit more, and you can, you know, come up with really long channels and little islands, and you know, so yeah, I'm not happy that I'm going to have to do all of these changes, and I'm sure nobody is, but it kind of is interesting to where, okay, now at least to me, it seems like I've got a lot more freedom in my planning.
And you know, the thing I like straight away then, I really have found it quite frustrating that, you know, to do a PvP hull, to go in and prep out a guard, you know, you want to survive the turrets, but obviously you don't want to do any building damage, and you have to really be quite picky. This one here now has got your building defense already built on every single PvP hull. Is going to have the 45%, not full range, then, so you're losing 5%, and you can still put, you know, siege targeting 4 on that sort of stuff, and some other specials if you want to afterwards to bring your building damage back up and to bring it back up to 50% turret defense. But you don't need to. So if you're just prepping now, you're not going to have to do any building damage or any wall damage. So if you want to just go out and get that initial hull out of their you know, their defense fleet, so long as you're not bubbling them and they've got a massive bubble pad at the front, then you can just go and chip away at it. So you can mess around quite. There was quite a lot. You know, I was just like playing with one ship and that sort of stuff, and seeing what each one could do, and then I just changed one defense ship as well and that sort of stuff. So the thing that's not written up in these notes here that I've got off of Chris is, I noticed that defense ships for the first time in a long time actually worked. And that surprised me massively. I actually started taking out Conquerors and putting in defense ships, proper defenders, you know, and that hasn't happened for a long time. So I was quite pleased with that. And I was messing around with some builds and with Daniel, in fact. And we were looking at some bits. And I know Robin and I did in the one before that as well, which was a lot previous sort of stuff. So yeah, as Venom said inside there, he had 4 wardens in his, you know, in defense, and so that's a nice change, you know, and if it's good because they fix faster and that sort of stuff. They're not as flexible, but you know, in this instance they didn't need to be. So it's nice that they're not just sleeping policemen just waiting to be driven over and driven by for a change. They actually did do their job.
Yeah, and the fact that the death by 1,000 paper cuts, as I call it, will no longer
It's gone. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a godsend. That sit there and just try and get 7 damage types off of one weapon system, and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So the thing I liked about it is really, really simple. You've got your damage. Let's just say it's 1,000. You've got deflection. Let's say it's 1,000. You're doing zip. You're going to do nothing. So it's an easy thing to read. You go in there, you look what they've got. You go, right, the maximum deflection you can get is X. Right, can I get the better damage? They're already going to tip it in the favor of damage slightly anyway, so you will do damage to each other's ships, etc. So it's not just a case of like sitting there, as you've said, a death by 1,000 cuts just to a minimum bypass, which is thank God that's over, because that was nauseating to say the least. But yeah. I enjoyed it. I mean, don't need to say much more than that, to be honest. There's a lot going on. These are, like I said, these were the initial statistics, so take them all with a pinch of salt. It's all still flexible. We've also had a preview. All the players are in there, as far as I know, anyway. Most of them have provided another feedback survey that was pushed out as well. So the statistics still could change slightly. So this was the generic thing. And as you've said, already it's gone up to 25% on the 4 turrets. For damage instead of 20% cap. So it'll flex around a little bit more, I'm sure, yet before we get to the final output. But it can't be that far away because they seem to be generally quite sort of reasonably happy with what they've seen so far.
The biggest challenge is going to be once they finalize it, how do they roll it out to us?
Well, that's the bit I'm holding back on because I don't know
how it's communicated.
How is it going to be communicated? Already today in chat, and the only thing I was looking at today in chat when the sector chat came on was the amount of people that went, what's just happened? Why am I on a different sector number? The amount of people that aren't on pages, that could play through different, systems, concrete and all that sort of stuff, and all those other different that don't go on the forums, that don't go on things. We only represent 1/3 of the player base. We know that, but 1/3 is still quite a lot. There's still plenty of people out there that didn't even know this was coming, and they were really stunned.
How you can play a game like this and not be at least a somewhat informed player? That boggles my mind.
They're out there, mate. Definitely.
I know.
And then there are people that have access to everything, but they just don't bother to read. So
why can't I find my mega ship? Why can't I lock on to a thingy? Why is the sector number changed? Who's this person next to me in this sector? I saw loads of questions, odd ones. I was thinking, have you not read anything? But they don't. I know that, and Ren said that before as many times.
Reading is exhausting. I mean,
yeah,
it's just exhausting.
But it is what it is.
Posting on the page asking the same question over and over is much easier.
Like, when am I going to get my free Apollo?
When's the ride?
When's the raid? Yeah, what days?
Hey,
it's like the guy who tagged me today. Ren, can you tag me on your post from that many days ago because I can't find it?
Yeah. Or tag me to this because I can't find it. Or what time is the show tonight? It's generally the same time every night on the midweek and the same time every night on the weekend. It may be on a
Snoopy's back from his prostate check and he wants to know when's the next raid.
We did post up the next raid, didn't we? So let's have a look. The December raid, okay, and just to be confirming, hang on, wait a minute. November, December. There we go. December's raid will be kicking off. So the first Thursday is the 6th, isn't it? December? It is. It's the 6th, isn't it? Yeah, it is. So there you go. It should kick off on the 6th. Which then gives you a weekend after that, 13th, which will be VXP, and which means Bounty will be on the 20th. And then I'll be really intrigued to see what they're going to do for the weekend of the 27th. We'll see. Anyway, right. That's that slide. Anyway, so that's about it. I'm not going to say too much on the rest of the refactor because there isn't much to say that wasn't on the preview stream. So if you want to know more, to be honest, or visualize any of it, then it's all in there. But that's basically what we went into the preview stream with those adjustments. Ready ho. This is normally Daniel's, isn't it?
Yes, it is. So let's see here. That secondary weapon doubled the stat block. That dealt with our Apollo. They're just wanting to remind everybody that was a visual change only. It wasn't actually in gameplay. That's fine. It certainly did make the new weapon look like an absolute rock star when people tossed it on there and didn't stop and go, something doesn't add up here.
No, but you know what? That was a good catch that you caught that, and they were able to fix that before everybody got it.
Yeah. Props to you, mate. You picked that one up.
Yep.
Yeah. Payout screen has 0 titanium warning from silo targets. I had not seen that myself, but maybe I wasn't watching it close enough, just knowing that it did pay out.
I saw that, and you'd hit a titanium target, and the screen would say you got 0 titanium, but you actually got the normal titanium. So it was just the payout screen messed up.
Funny bugs sometimes, some of them, aren't they? Yeah.
Now this one, we've heard plenty of, unable to target turrets and structures when they're too close behind a portal.
Yay.
For a couple weeks.
Again.
Yeah, again.
This one
For the
goes
third
back
time.
and forth, back and forth. There's something called software configuration management where you use version control so you don't reinsert old bugs. Maybe Kixeye should try it.
Maybe. You know, you never know.
Yeah.
What worries me now, they've fixed that. Are we now going to see the issue that we saw in Bounty where your ships now stop at the gates?
Yeah. They stopped dead. So, yeah. Oh, God, don't do that. That was awful. Sorry, Daniel. Go on, mate.
That's right. Game crash when the fleet is launched. I will say this, since we went live, I have had almost 0 of my 5002 base crash SOS errors.
Awesome.
Knock on wood that maybe will just go away with this. Because I would have anything crash in the base no matter what you did. Launching a fleet was just one of the things. So hopefully, they've got that there. And then, of course, the ambiguous general bug fixes and performance improvements, too small to have their own unique line.
Yeah, very, very much so.
But that one's big, though, this time, because that was, I think, and I think it was Chris or somebody mentioned that last night on Discord during the massive update, was that was also something that they were working on in conjunction with the sector consolidation. So I'm really excited to see, well, I shouldn't say excited, but I'm excited to see how well or that works with so many people and so many sectors and so many targets now. Because I've not seen, this morning I was on for about 2 hours and I think I only refreshed once.
Wow. Yeah, I must admit, I was on earlier on, like I said, did that TLC. I zoomed out to 33%, screen size, and then went maximize my screen so I could get the whole sector in one screen. And I've got quite a big screen, but I could see the whole sector, and that's why I picked up how many gaps there were and that sort of stuff in the sector. I managed to get all 36 SSRBs on one page, and
wow.
I was quite surprised. It was quite good, to be honest. There is a lot of space, and as they said, you can get up to 3,000 bases in one sector, So it's still reasonable, to be honest, and we could definitely get another 100 players in easily in just one corner of our sector, and our sector is very busy, as Robin knows. So it's quite decent, and as Venom said in the side there, the last one where it said about performance improvements, he's noticed that some DPS numbers have slightly changed. So just be aware of that, but it's all going to go a bit skewy soon. As soon as it's obviously the next big stage 2 of the update is going to happen. But I think they'll let this sector rebalancing things settle down first. Once that's settled itself and people are generally back on form and quite content, I think then we'll be looking at it again. Bear in mind, they said Bounty's coming up, and when Bounty comes up, the next one that they're going to look at making it a whole stall, which then indicates that if they're going to give out all the PvP tier 7 stuff, then hey, look what's around the corner, probably T8.
Yep.
So, that would be logical, wouldn't it? But yeah, that's all I've got, to be honest. Have you got anything else, guys?
God, if they're going to do that, I hope that we are not going to have the issues that we had last time where they had to turn the NPCs off.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, good point. Yeah, that wasn't frustrating at all.
Just a wee bit.
Yeah, what has Captain Lockie just said in the sidebar chat? So, did the game have 400 sectors worth of banned or dead bases?
Yes.
But, there was a point made about that because, in fact, Nobby found. Trust Nobby. First thing he did was first base he picked was banned
banned
on
base.
a locator. The banned bases that did not hit the have not logged in X many days filter did not get pulled off. So there are still banned bases, like recently banned bases that are there, and then eventually they'll roll off as they hit that filter. So it's not all banned bases that were removed. It was just anything that hit whatever that filter was.
So, and I looked at my, previous.
So, in other words, if the guy was banned a week ago, he's still in the game because the base just hasn't been inactive for long enough to be removed.
So we don't know their special formula, but You know, they're going to now that it's working, they've done it first time. They said they're going to cycle them through every X number of days and that sort of stuff. Whether it's going to be 60 days or whatever it is. So, you know, ban bases should disappear, but it will take a while for it to happen, sort of stuff. So, I just don't know how long it's going to be.
Yeah, definitely a lot less clutter though. I mean, there's a bunch of inactive bases that moved from our sector that are no longer there, and so it definitely have reaped a lot of them out.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
we'll see.
so to the question asked in chat, I mean, were there about 400 sectors worth of empty space and dead bases? Yes, because now we have 100 sectors. It's not as crowded as I thought it was going to be, and there's still a percentage of dead, abandoned, banned bases that haven't just been abandoned for long enough. And you know, so yeah, we had a lot of empty space apparently.
But let's be honest, at least they've tried to get rid of some ban bases, and a lot of them have gone.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know why they didn't all disappear. And to be honest, you know, I'm not a computer programmer, so I don't need to worry about why they haven't all disappeared. The point is, a lot of them have gone. So, you know, something worked. I mean, put it this way, you know, I mean, the update was a long time, but we logged back in, the game started. I was surprised because I was generally expecting a rollback. But there we go. Right.
Yep,
Okay,
well
we're
done.
done. Anyway, anything from the panel? Daniel, mate, anything from you, buddy?
Nope, nothing more to add right now.
Good.
Thanks for asking, though.
Yoni Ren, how you doing, mate?
Good.
Anything from you? You happy?
Yeah.
Good. Robin?
Yeah, I have a question for Ren. Ren, when's the next raid?
Just so annoying.
It's on the 5th of Go Finger yourself. Never mind.
I can't believe you just said that to a lady.
No, nothing for me. But,
Okie dokie. I'll clip that bit out. Righty ho. Super duper. Have a lovely get used to the consolidation week. Okay. And take a real good look.
TSM, do you feel consolidated?
Yeah. I'm not enjoying sector chat at the moment. It's just too busy. I'm like that. Whoa, shut up, everybody. It's like world chat gone wrong.
yeah, we've been hiding in ally chat.
So now in a couple of weeks, probably you're going to be consolidated and refactored. How about that?
I know. That'll be it. And then it will be a Brave New World. That's going to be the name of that show, by the way. Brave New World. That's what I'm going to call it. I've already decided. So I hope you enjoyed. Okay, then. On the third day, God created. Okay, then. And then Kixeye changed it sometime later. But yeah, okay. Enjoy. Have fun.
Bye all.
Be good. Take care.
Take care, everyone.
Reflector!
Idiot.